Alright guys, I'm coming to you this morning. It's really early. I'm off today, but I woke up early because I'm used to getting up early. Y'all know how that is. Um, and I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk real loud because I don't want to wake everybody up. Um, my wife's been having a hard time sleeping, so I'm trying to do this without waking everybody up. So this is going to be a video about these, kind of about these trappers that I've modified, and the inspiration behind what I did, and also I want to talk about a couple of new vintage pieces I got in a trade. So let's talk about those first. I got a couple of case jackknives here. Um, this is a 31 pattern. These are both from 1976, and they're just big old fat chunky jackknives, 2-blade knives, clip point, pin blade setups. Great walk and talk and half stops and everything on these. Put together real well. This black one's really nice. Transitions are perfect. These are users. They're not, like museum quality or anything like that, but they're just really good users. The yellow one here is a 99 and a half. That half represents clip point blade, if I'm not wrong. This is a good size knife. If you noticed it sitting here, it's every bit as big as a full-size trapper. But same deal here, half stops. It's got good action. I'm just really digging these vintage pieces here lately. So we might get into those knives in a little bit of a different video, a little more in depth. But kind of today I want to talk about these trappers and what I did to them and kind of what the inspiration was. So here's a typical trapper. Everybody watching this probably understand or probably knows what the setup of a typical trapper is. You've got your clip point main blade and your spay point secondary blade, and I'm not a spay blade hater. There's just about any job you could do with a clip point you could do with this spay blade besides castrating animals, but a lot of people really despise that spay blade for whatever reason, whether it's looks or they don't feel like the blade design is relevant anymore, which I think is dumb because these are traditional knives, and so you build them the way they were traditionally built. But anyway, there are a lot of people out there that just don't like a spay blade. Well, even though I'm not a spay blade hater, I'm not necessarily a spay blade lover. I mean, I don't necessarily think they're all that great looking myself. And so a while back, I was lucky enough to land on this knife, and y'all have seen this. I've showed it off. This is a what people would call an improved trapper, and it's got the same clip point as a normal trapper, but it comes with a Wharncliffe secondary, and I have found this knife to be extremely useful. I even said one time to either Big J or Ken or somebody, I said, I love a 75 Stockman, and about the only knife or the only blade I don't use on a 75 Stockman is the spay blade. Like, I just don't pull it out, especially on a Stockman because it's a stubby blade. But I love the clip point on a 75, and I love the sheep's foot on a 75, which I'll show you right here real fast. Y'all all know what this sheep's foot is. It's a big old thick straight edge, great for draw cutting, opening packages, opening boxes, tape. It's just good for a lot of things. Some of y'all may even use a blade like this on your leather. Anyway, but everybody loves the sheep's foot. So I had a couple of trappers here that I like to carry. My Whiskey Bone, which is in CV, and my Yellow Delrin, which is in carbon steel. cases new carbon steel that replaced the CV. And so the other day I get out here at work and I'm just kind of bored, and well, work has been slow, so we haven't exactly been, you know, busting our butts all day long. We've kind of been pacing ourselves to keep ourselves with something to do since the workload has slacked off. So the first thing I did was I came in here on this knife, and I showed this already, but I came in here on this knife and I ground half stops, and I gave this trapper half stops on both blades. And then I came in the next day after that worked out pretty well. I came in the next day and I did the exact same thing to my whiskey bone. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. Putting those half stops on these knives just completely transformed the personality of these knives. It's just made them so much fun to carry. So I did that, and I can hear the dog stirring in there. I hope I'm not waking my wife up. But then I got to thinking about that spay blade, and I thought, I wondered if I couldn't kind of modify that spay blade a little bit and make a more useful blade out of it. And so I wound up cutting the tip and creating pretty much a Wharncliffe secondary. Now obviously it's shorter because I had to cut past the nail nick, otherwise there would have been a weird, half of a nail nick out here. But I tried to pretty much emulate the Wharncliffe that comes on one of these improved trappers. Now y'all may have saw it when I had it flipped around a second ago. I had to recut the nail nick on this. And I'm going to tell y'all, this is the only part about this whole modification that I'm not just super crazy about, because it's hard to cut a straight nail nick in a blade like this. But what I did, and I did this on both of them the same way, I used the same cutoff wheel that I did the cutting and the half stops with, and I made as straight of a line as I could with that cutoff wheel. And then I came in here and I feathered down the bottom, kind of like the nicer knives are done with their long pulls. So it's got a good sharp edge at the top, and then the bottom is feathered down. So I did that on both of them, but I thought this turned out great. And I wanted to say, maybe the message here is don't be afraid to modify your knives. This is a whiskey bone trapper, and I didn't even know when I bought this and started using it, because I have used this knife a lot. But these whiskey bones are hard to find. There's guys searching high and low for these things and can't find them, and when they do, they're expensive. And I'm over here chopping mine up. But listen, don't be afraid to modify things, because what I've done to this knife over the last 2 days has made it just such a fun knife to use. The half stops, creating this Wharncliffe, it's just been really something, because now I just almost can't take my hands off of it. And so this one here, I did the same way, except I wanted a blade that represented more of a sheep's foot like you would find on one of these 75s. And so I cut it a little shorter, and I blunted the tip off a little more. So instead of looking like a Wharncliffe, it's more of a 75 sheep's foot. And so this one, like I mentioned before, it also has half stops, and so it's been really fun. You've got that, I hate to use words like this, but you've kind of got that fidget factor where you can open it, half stop, close. It makes all the good sounds. So yeah, this one here I wound up cutting about half the blade off of. This one here I retained much more of the blade. But like I said, guys, don't be afraid to modify things. I mean, if you don't have the correct tools, there's a risk of messing things up. There's more risk of messing one up with the half stop mod than there is the blade, because you pretty much just cut the blade, and then if you've got access to a belt sander, then you really need a belt sander, because you're not going to be able to finish these blades off the way you want to if all you have is a piece of sandpaper. Like, I used a piece of sandpaper in my hand just to kind of do some little light finish work, but 90% of the blade reshaping was done with a belt sander. So you definitely need the right tools. I mean, you can't go at this half-cocked and expect a professional result, but if you do have access to something like that, this kind of thing can be achieved very easily. I did all this work to both of these knives just within like an hour each day. One day I worked on this one, and one day I worked on this one. But yeah, I just want to come on here and show y'all because y'all have had some questions. But I'll show y'all the half stop on the clip point again. Pretty nice. And by making this one had a weaker spring on the spay blade side, but after shortening it up and lightening it up, it actually helped it a little bit. It's a little bit snappier now. So I think I made the right decision with putting the sheep's foot blade on this knife and putting the Wharncliffe blade on this knife, because this knife already had a good strong spring. But yeah, this particular knife has just become like the top dog in my rotation. Like I've pretty much had it every day since doing the half stop mod, and now since doing the Wharncliffe mod, I have just, not only have I carried it every day, but I have like had it in my hand fiddling with it every spare minute. I sat and watched football yesterday evening and just opened and closed it, opened and closed it, opened and closed it. My wife was like, "What is that noise?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just over here opening my knife and closing it." But you know, you might annoy some people, but this knife here, since I've made the mods, has just been hard to put down. I got the Zippos out today because I had actually misplaced both of these. During the summer, I don't carry a Zippo as much because it seems like I'm always lighting a fire in the wintertime or something, you know, we've got a fireplace. But I had misplaced both of these, like they just vanished. And when I went to get one, I was like, man, I can't find either one of my Zippos. Well, finally, I realized my sons had this one in their room. Nobody knew how I got there, but it was there. And then my wife found this one in one of the kitchen drawers. I'm not sure how it got there either, but it was there. So I've got both my Zippos back. So I'm gonna start carrying those every day now. Give y'all one more look at this. I'm not gonna make this video long like the last one was, because I just realized people don't watch long videos. This knife has a pin crack on both sides. But that's okay, because like I said, they're just users, but I still love them. I mean, the half stops on those knives are great. This one has a long pull. I'll show y'all the snap on the pin blade here because it's ridiculous, and I don't even think that pin blade's ever been sharpened much except for the little bit of touch up I did to it. But listen to this. That thing there is just a gator. This one's not hardly as strong, and the pin blade on this one's actually not very strong at all. But I've been flushing it, and it's not bad. It's definitely carryable. But yeah, I'm gonna let it go right there, guys, because like I said, I'm up this morning. It's super early. I don't want to just wake everybody up. But there's my Trapper mods, the inspiration behind them, and a couple of new vintage knives I've gotten. So I hope y'all have a great day, and I'm gonna try to start doing these videos weekly if I can. I'm not gonna guarantee that, but I'm gonna try to start doing a video weekly, and I'm gonna use Sunday as the day I upload. So we'll just see if I can get that done. I have been kind of excited about knives lately because I've acquired a few pieces, and I've been super excited about these two Trappers. So maybe I can start doing some more regular stuff, especially since it's going to get cold and it's getting dark outside so early and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, y'all just have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next one.